Good afternoon. This is Michael Wolf Parsons. I'm here at Wolf Customs in Neosho, Missouri. My cameraman is Jimmy Doc Parsons. Give it up for Jimmy Doc Parsons. Yay. So I'm going to do a video today on our Volkswagen. It's a 1967 model. It's been chopped, sectioned, channeled, shortened in length, that is, in 6 inches. I built a tube frame. Has a custom double A-arm independent rear suspension with coilovers. I built the car, started on it in 2015 and finished it up in 2019. Granted, I didn't work on it all the way through the whole time, but roughly about a couple years of labor on it. So I get asked a lot, well, how'd you chop your bug? Because there's a lot of different ways to chop vehicles, but I'm going to tell you about the way I chopped this one. I started by, I wanted to take 3 inches out. So I start out by, cutting my posts, and I pie cut the A-pillars, lean them in, and I bring the roof forward to match the A-pillars. That's my first step. Then my second step, I like the leaning the B-pillars forward. It gives it kind of a go fast look when it's sitting still. And then on this one, I did something totally different than I've ever done on a chop top. Anybody that chop tops, they'll say that the hardest part is, as the roof goes down, you have to lengthen the roof or start adding metal in somewhere. And I didn't want to lose what it was to be a Volkswagen, which is that nice rounded ball shape. So instead of cutting the roof, I decided to cut the rear clip right behind the door jambs, and that 6 inches of length that I told you about that I shortened the car, I took it out right here. So basically the rear clip, I moved it forward until I had this profile right. And so there's actually no filler body work in the roof, just around the edges where I did my cuts. I shaved my drip rails. The engine is a 2028. Jimmy built the engine. It's a stout VW engine. He used to race midgets and ran autocrafts, which are just basically large Volkswagen engines. So he knows his VW engines, and it shows because it runs good. So come around here, and I'm going to talk about the rear suspension. So one of the problems with Volkswagens is when you lower them, you have really bad negative camber, and we didn't want that because we didn't want and we also wanted to look real clean because we weren't going to put fenders on it. So we decided we'd build a tube frame, and we built this double A-arm IRS suspension in-house. We did all the work ourselves. Jimmy machined the parts turned the parts I needed on the lathe. We had a friend who had a CNC plasma cutter then, cut the brackets and the upper A-arms. Since then, we have our own CNC plasma cutter, so I have to put a word in if you want some custom parts cut, call Wolf Customs. Anyway, but this suspension, this gave us the opportunity to have a lowered Volkswagen with normal, even actually a little bit positive caster. And that's pretty cool. It's like there's just not very many VWs that are lowered with positive rear caster or camber. So anyway, that was one thing I wanted to talk about. One of my favorite tools in the shop is a tubing roller. So you can see this tubing that's been rolled. I can do long sweeping radius, and it's rolled and molded into the body. I built the rear bumper, the front bumper, and I want to show you the dash real quick too. So the dash is framed out of 3/4 round tubing, and as you can see, it's a long sweeping radius, and that's another thing that I use that tubing roller on. We have a tubing roller that we purchased from Swag Off-Road. They're a great company here in the United States. Everything's built in the US. Volkswagens get their strength from having the tunnel and kind of a spine, and because we had a tube frame, I didn't need that tunnel. So, but I still needed a way to hold the shifter up, so I came up with this kind of this floating console concept. And I wanted to have the gauges in the center and then kind of draw your eyesight, your attention down, and then kind of sweep right up into the shifter. And then we engine turn the aluminum panels. Had a young lady named Paige Peterson put my little modern rendition of Rosie the River on there. She did a fantastic job. So that's the rundown on this 67 Volkswagen.